Hey, hey Pisces, Mel, intuitive coach here. Excited to bring in your January 2025 love and family reading. Welcome back if you're returning, and welcome if you're new. If you're interested in a personal reading, signing up for the monthly newsletter, or entering into the free reading giveaway, you can find all of that information in the description box below the video. All right, we're starting off here with the Knight of Cups. I do see a lot of you have been working on healing through something that was very heavy. Narcissism, addiction, possibly abuse, toxicity. Yeah, it just feels like these three energies coming out were a shock to the system. Yeah, I'm getting like a shock factor here. And the reason they're still showing up here is because it has affected you in some way. But I actually feel with this Knight of Cups, you are choosing to remain open or open yourself up after such a trialing time of your life. You're crossed here by the Ace of Wands. So there's something to address here when it comes to a new beginning. And I feel like this has to do with sabotage as well, or perhaps emotional blocks, which we'll look at here in just a moment. But I do see here clarity and truth in the month of January. This is also about revelations, honor, protection, and determination. And I feel like there is a sense of determination here for you to move towards this Phoenix. This is what's at the bottom of the deck. New phase. Yeah, there's a determination here for you to embark upon this Ace of Wands and Knight of Cups journey. There's renewal. There's growth. You may have changed your mind regarding a person, or you may have taken a look at your belief system, but you're rising from the ashes. So I feel like there has been some sort of ending to a cycle, or there's been a tower moment with that shock factor coming in here, but you're coming out of the cold. Some of you were accused. There were accusations, or you were in a dynamic, or currently are in a dynamic where you feel like you had to walk on eggshells. And when you get to that point in a relationship, it needs to be addressed, because that means you're in denial. You're not being your true authentic self. And I see that that was a tough lesson that you had to deal with. There was a lot of unknown factors, and you may be saying, well, Mel, this person was going through that, or, I feel like someone may have been making excuses. Now, I'm not saying here, Pisces, that was you, but I feel like sometimes we make excuses when we're not ready, or we fear stepping into, a new beginning, because we don't know how it's going to turn out. We've been hurt before, and we hold back, or we tell ourselves we'll wait to be, happy when the kids are out of the house, or we'll wait to get divorced when, we tend to tell ourselves a story of when we think it's the best time. But that's in your hopes and fears, is this turning point. But the fact that it's in the hopes and fears tells me that we're still dealing with this energy in some way. What's the final outcome for Pisces? All right, beautiful. Bottom of the deck here, you have, there's your new beginning. I love it. So bottom of the deck is what you are bringing to the surface. This is what is coming up to your conscious awareness from your subconscious. So I see here that not only is there, a new beginning, but this is the rise. This is the Phoenix rising. Beautiful confirmation here. So in both decks, you are receiving here a renewed growth energy. You changed your mind on something. And I feel like you've changed your mind on maybe being with someone. Perhaps you thought that you were going to be with them for the rest of your life, or perhaps you told yourself you were going to leave, that you could never be in this dynamic, or you'd never find love, or whatever it was that you told yourself. Okay, I feel like you've changed your mind now. You're saying, wait a second, maybe I made that decision on impulse. Perhaps I had that belief because I had to adapt to the circumstance at that time, but now I have the ability to spread my wings. Maybe that excuse is over with. Like now it's like now you've come face to face with it. Now the children are out of the home, or now, things may have gotten so difficult that you can't help but move forward in a new direction. When these three cards show up together, the shock, the addiction, and the golden mirror, this is a powerful duo. And I feel like you may have been dealing with someone who was a narcissist, someone who may have love bombed you. Maybe it was one-sided. Maybe someone was very, very self-absorbed. Maybe one-sided energy here. And I feel like this mirror is being held up. This mirror is being held up for you to see what you could not see prior. And also, when you hold up a mirror, you're able to see what's behind you. And I feel like you're able to see something now that you weren't able to see while you were going through it. And you may see that someone was suffering. There may have been some addiction. Someone could have an addictive personality style. Maybe there were hints of codependency. This can be obsessive behaviors. Someone could have been restrained in some way, or just felt possessive or controlled, or even blockages emotionally. Now, addiction can be drugs, alcohol, but it can also be, addiction to work, to I said substances, but food or gaming or porn or, attention. There are so many different ways that addiction can be present in someone's life. And I just feel like you got a taste of what that looked like for someone, whether it's you, okay, maybe it's something that you struggle with, or it is something that you've seen someone else had struggled with, but now in hindsight, you can see that, you could see all the signs. I see that there is some sort of shocking news. The shocking news, though, has brought in a massive transformation. Maybe there was an ending here. But the good news is your overall energy for the month of January, Pisces, is the sword and the rose. This is clarity and truth, revelations, honor. I see here that you are determined to protect your own integrity or your values. There's something here about you never giving up on yourself, or maybe never giving up on a loved one. But I see that there's something about the mind being changed. Like you have changed your mind. And it could be because some healing has taken place. This is healing heartbreak, toxicity, addictions, abuse, relationships. You may see something from a different perspective that gives you more intuitive insight. And I feel like with that intuitive knowledge or intuitive insight, you may be making a different choice in your life when it comes to maybe many relationships in your life. It could be family, it could be a friend, it could be partners, it can be your own children or parents, but it just feels like you've been working on healing this. And I see that you're also determined to kind of be a good role model. You know that you can't change anyone, but what you can do is be the best role model, maybe for this individual, or if this is you are becoming the best role model for yourself. Now, diving in, you're starting off with the Knight of Cups. Your heart is going on a voyage, or you're in the middle of a voyage here with the heart. The Knight of Cups is someone who's open to love. They want emotional depth. I mean, this is your energy, Pisces. You are someone who loves deeply. When you love someone, you love them with all of your heart. And it's difficult for you to see suffering. Therefore, if someone does have an addiction, or perhaps they have some traits, you might at times try to love them into changing, okay, or love them into making a different choice. But that may be a lesson that you've learned the hard way, because you know that only that individual can change for themselves. They have to want it. They have to be willing to do the work. And I feel like you've opened yourself up, but now the stars, there's destiny coming into play here. I see all the stars there, and it feels like you are opening up to massive star energy. Again, healing and dreams and a brighter future. I also see for some of you, this is a small percentage, there may have been like a star-crossed lovers energy where you really wanted to be with someone, but they had some sort of attachment to something or someone else. And you may have found that out and it was a shock and you had to heal. And maybe that's the changing of the mind. Perhaps you change your story about that. Now what's crossing you is the Ace of Wands. This is the ace of inspiration. It is the ace of passion and new beginnings and desire and potential. And everything stems from, this seed. But the reason why it's crossing you here is because I feel like a boundary. There's something about coming up to a boundary and maybe a choice being made regarding this boundary. Some of you feel like there's no potential moving forward. And if that is your truth, if that's the mind shifting, you have to honor that, because I feel like you honoring saying that there's no growth in something or the potential has died down, I feel like that is what puts you on the path towards a brand new, a bigger beginning. I mean, this is all four aces wrapped up in one. So even if it feels like there's been a missed opportunity or it feels like you've struggled to tap into that, that energy here, I just see that continuing to move forward with the heart open and not closing down, because that's our first knee-jerk response when we're dealing with some sort of heartache, is to shut down. But I almost feel like you've been in this cycle for quite some time. Now you're really ready to step out of it. So now that energy within you has to align with what it is that you truly want to attract, because you cannot manifest a new environment based on the old energy that you've been in. Does that make sense? So you have to become that vibrational match towards this new beginning so you can start to see that aligning and coming together. Now, in the past, you do have the Queen of Swords, perfection. It almost feels like you really wanted this situation to be perfect. You wanted someone to come to their senses. It feels like you wanted to shake someone. You just wanted to shake them. Like, wake up. Don't you see the potential that we have? Don't you see that you could be so much more? But the situation went cold. This Ace of Wands, that fire, that potential, it feels like it burnt out. Now, some of you are trying to rekindle. Some of you are trying to blow, some oxygen, some air into that flame to see if it can be rekindled. And for others of you, I just feel like this has gone cold and it is going to require an honest redress in order for you to have a new beginning. Because in the recent past, you've been carrying a lot of heavy burdens. Maybe even burdens that were not yours. If you tend to have that Mr. or Mrs. Fix-It personality that takes on other people's stuff because you're a healer, because you're an empath, because you're someone that does feel heavily, Pisces, you can still take on other people. You can still help other people without taking on their stuff. And I feel like that was a lesson here. Now, 10s represent endings. There is an ending bringing in a new beginning, but it may require you to fully release something that you're still hanging on to. Maybe this is an expectation, right? This could be a judgment. Perhaps it's a criticism. Maybe it's an actual relationship. Whatever this is here, only you are going to know, Pisces. That is what is going to offer up, a new beginning here for you with this Ace of Wands. But you have to get creative. You have to get inspirational by tapping into your own inner wisdom. And that's what I see showing up for you in the future position. You have the High Priestess showing up here. Now, the High Priestess is Cancerian energy, your fellow water sign. There's something about detaching. I feel like you've detached. Yeah, it feels like you're detaching from an outcome. And maybe that is part of what you need to let go of, is the outcome in itself, of how to get there or what that may look like. You may have already put out your intentions, but now can you trust the process? And so often, we sit in it and we say, well, it has to look like this, it has to look like that, and then we actually suffocate that flame. That's why the flame goes out, because we don't continually, feed it the right amount of kindling and the logs, right? It's like we stick a big old log on it before it even gets going, and it burns it out. And I feel like the reason why you've done that is because you've been cold. You've been left out in the cold before. Now, what's above you is the energy to warm yourself up in a new way, to really go slow and steady. Trust the inner knowing that your intuition is providing at this time. You've had to succumb to some cold nights is what I'm getting here with the Arctic fox. It's like you've put on your winter coat in some way in order for you to brave the cold, brave the wilderness. And I think that's actually a book by Brene Brown, Braving the Wilderness. For some of you, that could be significant. Braving the wilderness may have to do with vulnerability. I know she's a huge advocate of vulnerability is our greatest strength. So maybe it's about you being vulnerable. But I see that you're stepping into more of that springtime season, right? That's where the Phoenix is heading. There's a growth period here instead of this cold period that you've been going through. You've adapted to something. Now it's time to step outside of your comfort zone. You're ready. You've already braved something. You've already gone through it. And I feel like now it's time to trust your intuition. And even if it means stepping into an uncomfortable position for the time being, it actually liberates you. It actually liberates you, Pisces. Now we have here the moon showing up. Now the moon is you. This is illusion. It can be shadows, things that are hidden from view. This is the subconscious. And I do see here that for those of you that are single, it feels like you've really been working on healing something that occurred in the past, even if this happened a year ago, even if this was 5 years ago. Now, some of you may be saying, Mel, I'm good. I've been ready to enter into a new beginning for quite some time. It's not happening. It may be because there's been some emotional blocks due to some unresolved peace. Like I said, you were still hanging on to something here, but you weren't aware of it because oftentimes what's in our subconscious is what we just default on. We don't even think about it because it's not in our conscious awareness. This is showing up here for you to take a look at. This is some sort of truth. It is truths being exposed, and you are being guided here, Pisces, to trust your own intuition more than you ever have, because a lot of what's going on over here is fear, false evidence appearing real. So this is about you healing that part of yourself, letting go of some sort of expectation, trusting the process. And for those of you that are in a relationship, perhaps there's been denial. Perhaps you've been trying to convince yourself that this person was going to get help, or they were going to get better, or, that you would adapt. And within time, you would just either get used to it, or they would get better, or they would outgrow it. We fall in love all the time with potential. But the thing about potential is that's just what it is, potential. Sometimes we do not act on that potential. And I feel like you can't live your life on potential. You have to do something with that. And if someone is showing you who they are, even if that means that it's not the best version of them, then trust them at face value, because people do show you who they are real quickly. And I feel like, again, what is he doing? He's opening up that door. The wolves are howling. There's something here that is trying to get your attention, and he's opening the door now to it. He sees something and he hears something. Some of you could have clairaudience. You could be getting messages or insights through music. If you start to randomly start humming a song, Pisces, or if you hear a song on the radio and all of a sudden you get an inkling to turn it up or to listen to the words, pay attention to what you are hearing. Now, this also could be what someone is telling you, because someone could be telling you something that is a lie. It's not matching their actions. So I just feel like you paying attention here is going to help bring clarity and truth and revelations to the mix. There's a new beginning coming in. Now, what's going on in your environment? You have the Queen of Wands. It is in reverse, which means we have to gain the confidence here. Queen of Wands, she is the most magnetic, confident queen. And she's someone who is very bold, and she's protective, and she's witty. And I feel like her in reverse, maybe this is you, it could be someone that you're dealing with this, but she's insecure, right? She can be vengeful, she can be bossy, controlling, and overly competitive at times. But I feel like the biggest thing is someone's insecurities. Someone could be hiding their insecurities with addiction, or someone could be feeling like liquid courage. Alcohol may be the only way for them to get through something, or maybe some sort of pills or shopping, whatever it may be. Again, that falls into that realm of addiction. I feel like that actually is a fake confidence. That is not truly empowering you. And once you get that clear mind, you really start to bring in the healthy empowerment that is long lasting, that is sustainable. And that's what you're doing here, because the hope and the fear lands on the Chariot. The Chariot is more Cancerian energy, and this is about forward movement. This is a turning point, coming out of the dark of the woods, coming out of that moon energy. Okay, coming out of the Seven of Wands, where you felt like you were closed off, or it felt like you were on guard or pressurized, like in a pressure cooker. Some of you were dealing with someone very stubborn, or someone who constantly was either fighting or flighting, right? It feels like there was just an energy of, I'm not quite sure. Do I stay? Do I go? Do I still have some more walking to do in these woods? Is there light at the end of the tunnel? And that's what we see here in the Chariot. We see that she's coming out of the dark of the woods, and she's heading towards that poppy field. And yes, there's some mountains there in the background, but this is green, and she can see what's ahead of her. So even though there may still be some challenges for you to, face, at least you have a clear understanding of what those challenges look like. And you can be prepared for any missteps or anything that comes up along the way. It's a lot easier to navigate challenges in the light than in the dark. What's your final outcome? You have the Page of Cups. I've also been seeing this energy come up often. And this Page of Cups is about your intuition, your imagination. This is about telling a new story. You can see here that this Page of Cups, half of her body is full of beautiful colors and flowers. And the other part of it is open to creativity. Maybe even open to some sort of interpretation here. And she's looking out into the vast wideness of the ocean there. And you can see that there's a ship, but that ship doesn't have a lot of substance. The ship, in fact, is white. So I feel like you have the opportunity to create your own canvas. Like, what do you want your future to look like? When that Page of Cups shows up, this is about, having fun with this. Vulnerability is a must. So again, braving the wild. Are you able to look at, something in front of you, and are you able to see it from a new perspective? Can you see it through the eyes of color, or are you seeing something for black and white? And, can you add a little bit of a creativity to it? Can you open up that third eye and envision what you want your future to look like? And then, most importantly, feel it, because that is the energy of the page, the energy of the cups, your energy, Pisces. You got to feel. That's what visioning is all about. It's not like creating a vision board and just throwing some images that that you would like to see manifest in your life, but how does that make you feel when you look at some of these images as well? So I feel like there is a combination here of opening up that third eye, starting to tell yourself a new story of this is how I want to feel, right? This is how I want to feel. And then you're going to start to see that some color starts to show up in your life. And I feel like things have been black and white for so long, maybe all or nothing, that now having this blank canvas in front of you feels a little bit daunting, but it shouldn't, because this is the beginning, right? This is the beginning and you have the ability to create something. Again, there's the potential. And now this is you standing in your own potential. And I feel like what you do with it is on you. All right, let's get a message from the wisdom of the oracle. What do we have here for Pisces? We have yin energy that just stuck in the plant there. Yin is the divine feminine. It is the empress. It is the feminine energy of receptivity. So I feel like you are someone who's very nurturing, very loving, very abundant, but don't spread yourself too thin. And if someone is taking advantage of your time, of your money, of your beautiful heart, then boundaries and clarity and truth and protection need to be, put in place. For those of you that have dealt with a family member who's even had like a mental health disorder, I feel like you've had to adapt to that. Maybe growing up, maybe you couldn't go anywhere else. You couldn't leave. So you had to adapt to, surviving. You had to take care of yourself. For some of you, you had to even raise maybe a parent. For some of you Pisceans out there, you've had to take care of numerous brothers or sisters or your own children. It feels like you've had a lot of people that have come to you because you are a healer in that sense. I mean, when you start off as the Knight of Cups, you have a lot of love and you have a big heart and you want to help everyone out. But sometimes that comes at your own sacrifice or your own expense here with this Ace of Wands crossing your path. And you may be thinking, well, I've taken care of everyone my whole life. When is it going to be my turn? When am I going to find love here? And if you're in a relationship, I just feel like you're still taking care of everyone else. And it still feels like you are kind of cutting yourself short in some way. And that's what you are looking into at this time. You're saying, well, wait a second. Have I just adapted? Have I been doing the same thing over and over and over, expecting different results? But that's where we start to envision a new future. What do we want to feel like? What do we need to do and who do we need to become to see this future playing out? And I see that you are becoming that vibrational match. That's what the Empress does. She creates the garden for the butterflies to come. When we're constantly chasing those butterflies all over the place, they're going to fly. They're never going to land because we're chasing them and they're going to be fleeting and it's going to be inconsistent. But when we build that garden, then the butterflies can come into that garden. And that's what I see you doing. So let's get a message from the crystal spirits. And at this time, Pisces, if you safely can do so, please close your eyes. Tune into your third eye chakra, the area between your eyebrows. Take a nice deep breath in from your solar plexus chakra, your belly area. Nice big inhale. Hold it as long as you can. And release through the mouth with a nice big sigh. And I want you to imagine the first crystal or gemstone that shows up in your third eye chakra. Your crystal could hold a specific shape, size, or color. Perhaps heart-shaped. Maybe it fits in the palm of your hand. It could be pointed, clustered. Maybe it's polished or even in the rawest form. Your crystal could be giving off colors of green, blues, purple, rainbow colors. This could even be a crystal that you know the name of. And if not, just tune into the frequency that it's emitting. Perhaps that of strength, protection, power, or unconditional love. There is no right or wrong answer, Pisces. And if you need a moment, just pause the video and come back when you are ready. And for those of you that would like to be entered into the free monthly reading giveaway, all you need to do is drop your crystal or crystals. You can have more than one. Drop it in the comment section below the video, whether you know the name, maybe it's the color, the shape, the size, whatever you are picking up on in your third eye chakra. Drop it in the comment section below. And then of course, be sure to hit that subscribe and bell button so you don't miss that notification of the winner on the first of each month. All right. You got my personal favorite, Carnelian, card 14. Carnelian is about self-assurance, increased confidence, dignity, and poise. For those of you that would like to know what carnelian looks like, this is our carnelian, which is also a firestone. So for those of you that could use a little bit of that fire, so we have that Ace of Wands, which you see is literally, it looks like a beautiful carnelian right in the middle there. So that could be a stone you work with. Now the message here is this: there is strength in allowing yourself to be what? Vulnerable. So we're seeing that word show up again for you. After all, intimacy and trust can only be built if you let yourself be seen as you really are. Be confident in all that you have to offer a partner and know that the universe wants all of your relationships to nourish you. Carnelian spirit is here to remind you of how wonderful you are. Rest assured that as you experience your dignity and hold your head high, others will recognize that you are a pillar of strength and a beautiful, unique spirit. You deserve the relationships that you want for yourself. Be assured that the universe is working to see that you have that. Yeah, there is an underlying energy. That's why the Fool card is coming up. You're rising above the ashes here. You're rising above the clouds, all that darkness, the chaos, the confusion, heaviness here. And I see the sun at the top of the clouds. So there is sun at the end of this tunnel here for you. Now, carnelian is a stone here of confidence, courage, action. It's fantastic for those who are prone to procrastination, or if you have to get into a difficult gathering, right? If there is some sort of gathering or event or something you are putting yourself in the midst of where other people are involved in any way, this is a really good stone to help you gain courage to take that first step. Carnelian lights a fire in your belly and other less comfortable places. It pulls you by the bootstraps and says, let's go for it. There's also another sign that received this as well. It may have been Scorpio or Sagittarius. So perhaps some of you are dealing with a Scorp or a Sag, but I feel like carnelian is really helping you gain that necessary confidence that you need to envision and create the life that you want and to take the steps required of you to see that happen, to see something through. That is what I have for you, Pisces. If this resonates, please hit that thumbs up button. Feel free to share, like, subscribe, and hit that bell. And don't forget to drop your crystals in the comment section below to be entered into that free reading giveaway. Thank you so much for tuning in, Pisces. Lots of love.